Okay, let's talk about some contract stuff because we just had the thing yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever, Draymond saying he wants a max, and as well as Collin Sexton because that is still floating in the air a little bit. So, in the case of Draymond, I'm going to assume the Warriors do not want to max Draymond. I think this is just step one in that negotiating tactic between Draymond and his agency. I would guess the Warriors would be comfortable with giving Draymond something around, I don't know, 20 a year. I mean, we can all appreciate everything he does with his leadership and his passing, his chemistry with Steph, his defense, of course. But when you average 5 points a game, we can appreciate, look, sometimes teams leave you open, you flip it to Steph, he comes around the screen, boom, it's an open three. But there's always going to be more to it than just that, and his scoring is what it is, right? Now, this also led to another conversation yesterday on the internet, which is the whole, well, how can the Warriors re sign Wiggins, Draymond, Clay, and Jordan Poole without getting killed on the luxury tax and the repeater tax? I mean, their payroll for this previous season was already, what, in the 300 millions? Joe Lacob has a quote from a little bit ago now saying that it's just not feasible to give everybody the money that they really want. Well, the hope is that you could get guys on not maxes, basically, where you're giving Draymond less money than you're already paying him now. Same thing with Clay. You would hope that you could land a similar thing with Wiggins and Jordan Poole, but look, all of those guys should go for the best possible deal they can get. And I mean, it does get pretty difficult to have this conversation when you're talking about Draymond and Clay and what they've done for the Warriors. Also, the fact that you've got Kuminga and Moody in the wings, literally and I guess figuratively, with, waiting to be the next guys up, right? Look, man, if you just want to make a bet on between Clay, Wiggins, Jordan Poole, and Draymond, which one is the not safe bet to hold up on their next contract if it's a longer term deal? I think the easiest pick there is Draymond. But hey, look, him and Clay are the same age. Of course, Clay missed 2 years because of the injuries. Draymond himself has also missed a decent amount of games over the last few years. It's a tough spot to be in. On the other hand, the one way you can really defend Draymond in this conversation is that he's the most unique guy of all these guys, right? And so you could say, well, we can't replace what you do for us, and that becomes a big conversation. But so while the Warriors don't have to deal with this right now, like for this season, they're pretty much clear. After this upcoming season, it is going to get kind of rough. I think it was possible to sour on Jordan Poole just because of some games he had in the finals, but like, are we sure that guy can't average 25 points a game one day? In the case of Wiggins, I guess if you wanted to be a Wiggins pessimist, you could just say there's enough evidence to suggest that he just had the best season that he's ever going to have for you. The optimist would say, well, listen, there's a clip of him on the Andre Iguodala Evan Turner podcast where he's like, dude, rebounding is sick because I have like a 90-inch vertical, you know what I mean? And maybe that's just the new Wiggins, one who's just more hard-nosed, and he was also an Iron Man for him. I mean, the minutes he was playing in the playoffs, I think he played 70-something games in the regular season. Like, it'd be tough to lose that guy, and also, again, much younger than Draymond. Anyway, let's go to Collin Sexton now. All we know so far is they offered him a contract that he was very fair to decline. It was, what, $13 million a year, I believe? He can definitely get more than that. Cleveland could be the one team with Mobley, Allen, Markkanen, Dean Wade, who gets lost in the shuffle of their, like, 9 million 7-footers, Kevin Love, of course. Maybe they're equipped to deal with a Darius Garland, Collin Sexton backcourt that you can also stagger to where it's not as large of a defensive problem for you. But they've also got LeVert, they got Rubio. Like, it's a bit of a crowded team. All the while, to me, they still could use like Isaac Okoro with a jump shot, basically. Collin Sexton gets buckets and he does it on a pretty all right efficiency. I understand that the passing is, well, he's not a point guard. Let's just put it like that. And also, whatever ends up happening with this situation, the worst possible thing is Cleveland just not having Sexton for nothing, okay? So whether that means a trade later on or them just giving him the contract that he wants, which is probably closer or above $20 million a season, I think that's better than just losing the asset for nothing. Could it potentially be an awkward fit? I mean, I'm not even sure that's a guarantee, but if it is, like, I'm assuming Collin Sexton will be very tradable if 2 years from now it's like, yeah, this isn't exactly how we'd want to have this roster looking with the two smaller guards and all that. Only the Pacers and the Spurs have cap space right now, and neither one of them have been connected to Sexton. and a good amount of the teams in the league have too much money to where they can't take a player back in a sign and trade unless they were going to also move a lot of money to get Sexton. And now we're just kind of in this awkward spot that could end up leading to him being on a qualifying offer playing this upcoming season, which doesn't happen a lot, but okay, it really could on this case. Are there teams around the league where I would be intrigued with Sexton on there? Yeah, one of them being Miami, but when I try to think of a sign and trade there, I just don't know if there's anything that really would get Cleveland to agree to a move like that, because, I mean, to me, they just need like an awesome two-way wing if they were going to move off of Sexton, and Miami's not going to give you a guy like that, and it's just awkward. Like, Cleveland doesn't want to pay him what he believes, and I think what most people believe he's worth, but they also are probably not going to move him for anything less than like a pretty damn good return. So it's like, what do I do here?